Welcome everyone to another interview by Rodney segment. Today I'm here with a wonderful, wonderful young lady who has accomplished a great goal that I'm sure she set for herself many years ago. I'm here with Miss Kennedi Hurd. Miss Kennedi, thank you so much for taking part in an interview by Rodney.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes, ma'am. Look, I've been collaborating with your mom and trying to get this organized. And finally, she said, yeah, we can get it done. And this is the Sunday that we chose.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Miss Kennedi, you just recently graduated.
I did. Class of 2025, yay.
From where?
From Spelman College.
Lord Jesus, that's so great, honey. What was your degree in?
It was theater performance.
Good
theater
for
performance.
you.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. And you also graduated cum laude, right?
I did.
Explain that to my viewers.
So cum laude or Latin honors is the branches of like what your grade point average was. So mine was 3.56, so that ranges from 3.3 to 3.59, like right there at the bracket, because they don't do weighted GPAs anymore.
Yes.
And then as you go up, then it goes to magna cum laude from 3.6 to 3.7, and then summa cum laude is 3.7 all the way to 4 point plus.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's what an accomplishment.
Thank you.
As far as high school though, you class of 2021.
I am.
So as a young girl, I'm gonna say young girl, when you was in your little girl phases, what were your dreams and goals as a young person?
Well, as a young person, I was very much into books because my mom, she did not play about me reading. So every night I always had to read 30 minutes to an hour before I can have TV time. And TV time was also very minimum as well, except on Fridays when I watched Disney Channel.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older and in my little girl phases, as I've gotten older, the love for books and audiobooks, it became my own love.
Kennedi.
And so I love true crime, romances, sci-fi, just everything that piques my interest.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, let me tell you a conversation I was having with my wife before y'all got here. I said, one thing about it, her mom was a stickler for performing good in school.
Absolutely.
And being a good person.
Absolutely.
And that's what I remember about your mom. Even though she's sitting over there and she's watching this interview, but and she know I'm not being untruthful.
Right.
And I just appreciate your mom, how she's brought you up. And speaking of that, what seeds other than the books you would say that your mom planted inside of your mind to create the young lady that we see today?
Well, absolutely, putting God first and, instead of looking at outside resources, come to him first and, he's the head and not the tail.
Come on.
So trying to, just really put him at the forefront and then, as, on earth, my family and friends are his vessels to then, give me those resources of how to talk to him.
Lord have mercy. Honey, I see what Spelman has done. Lord Jesus. On top of the good Lord and your mom. Now, speaking of Spelman is HBCU.
Absolutely.
When did the HBCU Spelman come into your heart and soul to say that's where I want to go? When did that happen?
I honestly, it was freshman year, towards the holidays, I think November, December. And honestly, I actually didn't know about HBCUs prior to, as I was doing my research with Spelman, because my older cousins, all of them, majority women, they were like, why don't you go to Spelman? Like, I think that fits you. And they were all joking about it. I was like, once she gets to Spelman, there's no coming back. She's changing.
Man.
So I think that was when I decided to deep dive into research, because my cousin, she went to West Georgia, and that was a predominantly black school.
Yes.
And so that kind of gave me kind of a ground of like what that could potentially be at Spelman.
Yes.
And then once they showed us Zooms and just past videos of girls throughout the classes, I was like, this solidified, like, I want to go to HBCU. This is for me. This is for me.
Well, as far as like, if I had to say the blueprint for that ninth grader that's out there, and they're not sure exactly where they want to go, what would you say to that ninth grader who's aspiring for a college admission?
College
What
admissions.
information would you share with a ninth grader?
I say first and foremost, be truthful, because as young black girls in general, we may say, oh, they've already heard the same story, but your story is your own story.
Ooh, yes.
And nobody can tell it like you can.
You better say it.
And just be truthful, be open-minded, and you'd be surprised. Just give them your heart.
Lord have mercy. That's good information. So on the first month when your mom dropped you off on campus.
Oh my goodness.
And I can honestly say either she cried before or she cried on the interstate coming home. I don't know which one happened, but I bet you one of them did. But here's my question to you. How was your first month navigating the campus of Spelman College and mom is gone? How was that first month?
That first month, there were a lot of tears because, I myself, codependency. I'm like, Mommy, where you at? Where you at? Like, it's like, tell me what to do. Where do I do? Where do I go? And, then it came to midterms, because we have midterms earlier than most schools for some reason. And it got to a point where I was like, okay, there's this test. I can't call Mama because she's not here with me to see everything.
Yes.
And that's when I had my first panic attack. And that in itself, it was like almost my breakthrough at the same time, because I let my tears fall, and I was like, God, please just give me the strength, give me the tools or the toolbox that I already have. Can you enlighten them for me? So I went with that.
Yes.
And as I was writing my paper, the tears slowly start to dry.
Wow.
And
yes.
before I knew it, I finished my paper, and I even got a high grade on it. I got a 96, I think.
Wow. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
So to that young lady who's out there considering Spelman, because you're going to inspire some other young ladies. I'll go ahead and tell you. What is some history that you learned fairly soon related to Spelman College? What was the history of Spelman?
First and foremost, we've been the #1 HBCU for 18 years running. The school was founded in 1881, and surprisingly enough, it was founded by 2 white women, but the majority of the class were all black women.
Really?
And so then as the years have progressed, then the school, it became Black Women Central.
Yes.
To venture out, and our motto is a choice to change the world. And so that motto became the groundwork for girls all these years later. And hearing alumni as Cassie Davis, Stacey Abrams,
look at that,
Keisha Knight Pullum, and then we even just recently had 2 girls, one class of 2027 and then one of 2025, who walk with us, and they're both astronauts. So
Kennedi,
there's groundwork breaking everywhere on Spelman for those who are interested in it.
Look, that history, man. You know it. Now, we're getting close.
Mm-hmm.
During the commencement ceremony, y'all had a special guest.
We did.
Miss Taraji P. Henson. I have to ask you, what did you hear from her speech?
The main thing I took away from that was the number 7 being a goal or lucky number. She was 7 years of completion. 7 is the full cycle number, and what she really focused on is that I'm the 7th generation of Black women, and I am between breaking the cycle or continuing the cycle. And so what I really took away is breaking generational traumas, they're not supposed to be easy, but they're well worth it, and that is my goal, to break those, because you also in your DNA, even go back down to the DNA, all that trauma, it ventures through each cell. So for me, stopping it now while it's happening before I even continue it on is the best thing for me. So breaking those traumas.
You was paying attention.
I was trying to. I really was. It was Taraji, theater performance major.
How could you not pay attention?
In the industry, and then her most recent work, Straw, came out. So I heard that was phenomenal. So I plan to watch that.
Good for you. Oh, I heard about that. I gotta watch it myself.
It from what I've seen, the edits and stuff on TikTok is phenomenal,
I heard.
and a necessity for Black women to watch.
Now, once something just popped in my mind that's not on my flow chart here. Mm-hmm. When I look at you, you look so much like your mom. Mm-hmm. Do you consider now, especially at the age, you're probably 22 now?
22.
Are you and your mom friends now?
I say we're closer than we were prior. Like, we're actually able to talk to each other and actually, when we say woman to woman, mother to daughter, there's still that respect there. Of course, I try to keep, but also at the same time, we even had a conversation recently about dating, and I'm like, Mom, I've got my education, my bachelor's now. I'm actually trying to date and see what that's all about. Because, in my younger years, I was trying to focus on education. And I'm like, I don't need this right now. I don't need it. But now that I'm actually older and venturing out into the world, because I only consider myself in the toddler years of adulthood, and so now actually trying to fill out the dating scene. So even coming to her and ask, like, Mom, how do I date? Like, how do I date?
Wow. And I know your mom gonna give you the most utmost advice when it comes to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why I thought, basically, I like being friends now with my children.
Absolutely.
It's friendship. It's not me telling you what you need to do and all that. And it's the best thing. That's why I asked the question. I can tell y'all seem like y'all are like best friends. Just watching you pull up in the car. Like there's two sisters pulling up in the car.
And I've also been thankful enough to see that, like our parents, like we are, it's everybody's first time in the world. So I think, being able to really see her not even just as a mom, but as Sheila, the person, the woman, and there's that grace there because as our parents, in the pros and the cons, y'all did the best that y'all could with what y'all had.
Oh yes, ma'am.
I definitely appreciate it and growth.
And I think about that even with my mom. It's like, this is my mother's first time ever being a mom.
Absolutely.
So they're not perfect. And I'm not perfect as a dad because I'm still in my first dad episode.
Right.
And I'm going to be a first dad till I die.
Absolutely.
Man, I love your outlook on how you look at things. Here's my last question. Your grandmother, Miss Lenora Dubose. She was another young lady I could say was the salt of the earth. She was so wonderful. And your grandmother passed. When was it that your grandmother passed away?
December 6, 2024, and I got the call at 4:18 p.m.
Ooh, it's vivid in your mind.
Absolutely.
My question is, if your grandmother was she was at the ceremony.
She was.
But if she was there in flesh and blood, what is it that she would have said to you after you walked off that stage and the ceremony was over?
Well, she would have been crying, but she was like, "Congratulations, Kennedi, you graduated."
Man.
She would have been like, Kennedi, that was her nickname for me. That was my girl, Miss 17, we called her.
Yeah. So. Your grandmother was just a wonderful person.
She was.
And I'm glad I had the privilege to know her all my years. And she used to fuss at me back when we would ride bicycles by her house and we would kind of cut through the yard.
Oh, so
if y'all don't get off
my
yard,
grass.
yeah. I miss your grandmother.
Absolutely.
Miss Kennedi, thank you so much for taking part in Interview by Rodney. And you're going to inspire, like I said, my intentions for this is for you to inspire other young ladies who have the dreams that you had. And you make it possible. You're visible that it's possible.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very grateful to be here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.